Hey everybody, it's RigheousFreed. We're back again with another character build guide, this time for SP Elwin. I'm gonna go over his new abilities, how they make him the most mobile cavalry unit in the game and the best for tank slaying, and basically just 1v1ing. It's a very powerful unit. We're just gonna jump right into it. We're gonna start with his talent, Holy Dragon's Will. Now, when actively attacking, damage dealt and defense are increased by from 3-star to 6-star rank, 10, 15, 20, and 25% at max 6-star rank. Very powerful. Gives him a lot of survivability as well, in case he, for some reason, cannot move the full 4 squares to get a first strike. When there are no allies within 2 blocks, you are unable to be killed by a fatal blow. So basically, you just revive once. Now, the revive is like Yulia's revive, so if you die, you come back at like 0.1% health or something like that. So it's not like Ledin's, where if he dies from, well, he has Trial of Bravery's proc on there, he doesn't come back at the health he was at beforehand. So you need to make sure there's nobody to follow up and kill you afterwards. That way you can move and kill whoever attacked you. And before entering battle, you restore 20% HP for each 1 block move before battle. When moving 4 or more blocks, you will launch a first strike. Now, the first strike, like I just mentioned a few seconds ago, is like similar to Sakura's and Ashram. Like with Sakura, it's higher skill. All your units attack first, and then the enemy attacks you. Ashram, it's with attack. He just needs to move 4 squares. So you can effectively make sure you never die in a 1v1 if it's just a straight up between you and another DPS. Like, even if for some reason you can't fully kill them because they're like a Lancer and they're able to just live with that little bit, you're going to kill all their soldiers first, most likely. Now, the whole talent here helps itself in every single way. Damage dealt and defense plus 25%. It's going to make you incredibly tanky there. You're going to get close to 1,000 defense before going into battle. You're going to be just as tanky as a tank. So it's very rare you're actively going to die when attacking. And you're able, with his revive effect, you're able to position him in a place where you can set up, you can bait people, or you can make it so that they can't move to a certain spot or kill him, because you're just going to move and then you're going to attack them and you're just going to recover all your life. If they cannot follow up with 2 people to kill him, there's not going to be any chance for them to get rid of him until you go in and start attacking. He's very good for map control because of this. He's very good for baiting people into thinking that they can 1v1 him. So it's going to give him a lot of access. Because you can't just run up, you can't just one-shot him anymore like you could in a hero or Grand Marshal class. And then if they do go and hit him and kill him, and they put him at like 1 health, he can just move 4 squares, recover 80%, and then kill them afterwards because they're probably weakened. It's going to make him incredibly hard to kill, going to make him a valuable unit. Now, what you do have to watch out for is Lancer tanks, because you're not going to deal a lot of damage with the soldiers he has. But before we get into that, we're just going to go over his 3 factions here are Protagonists, Legion of Glory, and Empire. He himself is a faction buffer, so you always have that. Besides himself, Matthew, if you play him, is able to use the Protagonist in order to give him the buffs and extra damage for when he's attacking. Make sure he can one-shot people. Leon gives him plus 5% damage for each square move before battle, perfectly procs with his talent. Bernhardt gives him, gives him increased damage when you have a class advantage over somebody. So if you're already beating them with class advantage, you're just going to be able to do that even better and one-shot them. Zenseal, we're going to check her real quick. When initiating battle, damage increases by 12%. Flat out. So you don't have to worry about, you just attack even if it's just you didn't move at all. Boom, you get 12% damage, you don't have to worry about that. He does need a faction buff or some type of boost to his stats. It's not going to be a problem because he himself has Eternal Light. When his HP is above 80%, which is going to be super easy to do, damage dealt is increased by 15%. This is going to be your bread and butter normally, unless you're playing Leon like I do as well. You're not going to really have to rely on anybody else to buff him. You're going to use that first turn to set up, and then the second turn you're going to look to gank somebody, one-shot them, or put that tank into the ground. Now, moving on to his skills, we're going to start off with the 3 that you're going to use mostly. Sword Soul. Probably all familiar with this. Attack a single enemy, dealing 1.8 times damage. Strongest flat base in the game currently, besides Aqua Blast, which is if you're in water you deal 2 times. And before battle you dispel 5 buffs, and you afflict them with Can't Be Healed for 2 turns, and it can't be dispelled. This is perfect for taking out tanks. You go up against the Landius, he lives at 1, he can't heal. You go up against a Juggler, can't heal. One of the main big things, he's meant to just heal right up, he's meant to tank that. Boom, this will stop them right in their tracks, and then next turn you can finish them off. Eternal Light, real quick, faction buff, HP is above 80%, damage dealt in battle is increased by 15%. Absolutely amazing for him, it's his bread and butter, works perfectly with everything about him. And then Reign of Glory. Active skill grants illumination. Your personal weapon, Errant Knight, gets a 100% chance to trigger and clocks your abilities. So, you would move Reign of Glory, attack and use Sword Soul. After battle, boom, Sword Soul's cooldowns reset. You can use it right again next turn. Absolutely, unbelievably powerful. You also get immunity, so you get that Gospel buff where you're unaffected by any debuffs and no debuffs can be applied to you for 2 turns. And after using, you can move 3 more blocks, just like Chivalry. But if your soldier is the same type as your class, you can move 4 in attack again. So, because he is Cavalry, you're mostly going to be using Unicorns or occasionally Dragoons. This is very perfect for him. It's also going to work for his hero class because you have Heavy Infantry and Masked Maids. You're going to be using Masked Maids most of the time if you do want to play him as a hero. We're going to get into that a little later. But this makes him the most mobile cavalry unit in the game because it gives them that 1 extra movement, and with unicorns you don't have to worry about mountains. You don't need any extra buffs or any other type of procs, like you don't have to do a combo with a Melda Whip and Leon having Blue Dragon Carapace. You don't have to do that, just right off the bat with the soldiers, and then you're just able to go wherever you want. You're able to apply that map pressure. Next we have Sunslash. Attack a single enemy, dealing 1.5 damage. After battle, restore 30% of damage dealt. You are very rarely ever going to need Sunslash in his SP class because he recovers so much health. Now, if you are playing against a rush box, they don't have any tanks, and they might even have some type of Lancer. They might have something to counter you. They might have like an Estelle there, and you just want to make sure you're healthy and she doesn't deal a bunch of damage. You might want to use this instead, just to recover after battle. But this is normally used just for PvE content. Keep you healthy if you're fighting Scylla in the in the Eternal Temple. This can also help you in any of the Ancient Beckoning trials, just to keep you healthy more in case you don't recover the full health. Detect. Crit chance is increased by 10%. When dealing damage, 50% chance to disable enemy passive skills. Lasts 2 turns. 100% chance to trigger when landing a critical. You are not really going to be using this in PvP because this does it after battle, not before, which is what you need for people like Albedo or Landius who have that revive effect. Like, it won't matter because you're just going to kill them before battle, hopefully. It's great for PvE though, with certain trials that don't have the immunity from passive negation. Next is Roar. Attack a single enemy, dealing damage equal to 1.3 damage. Before battle, dispel 2 enemy buffs, and their attack and int are lowered by 20%. Lasts a single turn. This is pretty decent. You can use this, again, against a rush comp. If you have another faction buffer, you can take Eternal Light out. So like you have Leon with you, for example, or you have Resential and use faction buff. Take Eternal Light out, put Roar in there, that way you can just dispel buffs on the enemy as well. You don't have to use Sword Soul if you don't want to. Or you can do this if you're going to go up against a DPS and you want to make sure they don't deal a lot of damage to you. Has a fair number of uses, can be just used, great use in PvE content as well. Alright, Crush. You're not going to be using this, but when HP percentage is higher than your enemies, attack increases by 12%. You're mostly going to be attacking people at full life. With the current abilities he has, he doesn't need this, but great for PvE like Scylla and the Eternal Temple. Defense Break. Before battle, 50% chance to reduce enemies' defense by 20%. You're not going to be using this. You don't need it. You don't really have a way. There's not much of a point when you can just deal as much damage as he does, and you're going to have other buffers on your team to increase your damage dealt. Barb is defensive. We're not even going to go over this. You're not going to use it. Frontal Assault. This is what you can use in place of Sword Soul. If you think your opponent is going to have a Blood Pact on their Juggler, their Albedo, their Landius, and you want to make sure you one-shot, get through their revives and not have to worry about it, put this instead of Sword Soul. It deals 1.7 times damage. Before entering battle, you add 20% of your attack to your defense, making you even tankier than you already are. You probably won't even take damage. And before battle, it disables all enemy passive skills. It lasts 2 turns and can't be dispelled. This does it before battle, unlike Detect. This is pivotal because if you're going against a Cavalry Landius and they don't take Lancer troops to stop you because you might have another DPS and they need to make sure that you can't one-shot it. Like you might have an Ares, you might have a Claret with you, for example. They need to make sure that they can try to live through that instead. This is great. Reign of Glory in, Frontal Assault, boom. Just one-shot them with that. You're going to have too much damage and then your tank's gone. This is probably going to be seen more later into the season and in the higher elos once we see a lot of people start using Blood Pact on their tanks, because Sword Soul, while it will dispel buffs, they can still be healed afterwards and it won't matter at that point. Like you might kill them once, but then they're going to go to full health and then it's going to be harder to do that. You're going to have to move around again and they can just recover from that. Force of Will. This has very specific uses. When a friendly unit dies, restore 20% HP and gain Force of Will. Before being forced into battle, restore 30% of HP and heals 30% of damage dealt after the battle. Lasts a single turn. This is great if you have Lyanna's Sky Archer, you have Egbert's Illusion go in and die, you have any other, just little minion that you can summon, like Lana and Bozo can summon them. You can do that, and then you can just sacrifice them. Like if you're playing like a rush comp with him and you have Yusuke and him as well, you can proc both of those. Now, this is a little hard to fit in because you would need somebody else to faction buff. And also this is just a recovery tool. So it is great because you fight that rush box. If you can't get a 4 square movement off to attack them, you can just recover afterwards using that. After you sacrifice the Sky Archer, and then someone like your Yusuke is powered up, or Reen would be powered up as well. So it can be very good for that. But all in all, like you're probably not going to use this one until this 3C comes out, whenever that may be, because we have no idea currently. And that's going to be it for his skills. Basic set again, Sword Soul, Eternal Light, Reign of Glory. Going to make it so that he can very, very easily slay anybody. Alright. For Mastery Stones, super basic. Armor and Headwear are going to be HP, attack, and defense. Weapon and Accessory are going to be attack, HP, and skill. Got to get that damage up. Got to stay healthy and have a little bit of survivability. Arena Stones, HP, attack, skill, crit chance, and crit damage increase. Want to get that crit, want to get that damage, deal as much as possible, just one-shot everybody so you never have to think about him ever again. Now to his soldiers. SP Elwin, the cavalry unit's main soldiers are going to be unicorn. Physical damage is treated as magical damage. That way you can bypass a lot of tanks that reduce physical damage. Your unit movement type is changed to Terrain Master. You don't have to worry about mountains, fortresses, water. One of the things that makes a lot of cavalry units have a hard time in Apex. Makes it perfect. You can go anywhere, Reign of Glory, move, and you have more map control than they can. When fighting on forest, mountain, or grassland, your attack and magic defense is increased by 30%. Absolutely beautiful. You can slay jugglers really easy if they take lobster behemoths. Use Sword Soul to dispel those buffs. Get rid of everything on there. They are going to wipe out those lobsters really easily. And then you're just going to be able to bulldoze right through. This is going to be your primary unit. They're going to allow you to position. They're going to allow you to map control, threaten everything that the enemy wants to do, because they cannot get two people to kill you at once. Now, if you're on a mostly plain field and like you're going to be going against, let's say, an Albedo, you're probably going to be wanting using something like Steelwing Warrior, because Albedos are going to be using something with, you know, a Holy Arc, couldn't think of the name, that reflects damage dealt to you. You're going to see a few of those. You're going to see a few with them drop near for when they're ranged attack by mages. But the Crystal Molders, let's check them out real quick. Where are they? Mine aren't built up yet. But after taking action restores up to 30% of soldier HP at max rank. When forced into a battle by a magic attack, unit reflects at max rank 30% of the damage received. This is very key for when she's being attacked and reflecting any damage dealt and making sure that the enemy dies and she lives. Crystal Molders are great for keeping her alive against that. So one of the best things to do in order to get away from the class disadvantage against the Crystal Molders, use Steelwing Warrior. When they attack, their attack goes up by 30%. And when ranged attack, they gain 30% defense and magic defense. So they do have a fair bit of survivability. Like, magic defense is... Elwin's just not going to live through most magic attacks. Like, a max range, like Scepter of Divinity with, like... even a Lightning Strike might kill him. He's very weak to magic damage. He just has very low magic defense. You want to keep him away from mages because they can make it easy. Go from range and do it, and then have somebody else come up front really quick and then kill him. But these will get you around a lot of Lancer soldiers being able to kill you while still giving you 5 range. You don't have the Terrain Master, so you do have to worry about mountains and such, but in certain situations they will be better than unicorns because of that. Having these would make it that way Reign of Glory does not give you 4 movement, but if you're up against somebody who doesn't deal a lot of damage, or you're just going to bulldoze through them, it won't matter too much. The most important thing is that you're able to break through whatever soldiers they have, counter that, and just put them into the ground or make them unusable. Now, if you don't want to do magic damage, Dragoon is a viable alternative with Elwin specifically. At max rank, the soldiers attack and defense get a 30% increase when attacking. So they can have a lot of survivability as well. You can go that route, make sure that you just survive as much as possible, even when you're in deep enemy territory. Now, there's going to be very few instances for Dragoons, because normally if they're just using Lancers in general, they're going to have that class advantage and make it so that they don't deal as much damage. But if a lot of the enemy units have high magic defense, like you're facing up against a Bozol, you're facing up against anybody who's buffed the magic defense a lot, these can be a viable alternative to get around that. That way you can still put because you don't want to go up against the mage, you don't deal enough damage, and then they just sleep you, they Dark Reaper or Holy Word you. Don't want to deal with that. Mass Maid and Heavy Infantry are not... You don't want to use it in his SP class because they only have 3 movement. It's not going to be good for him, but Mass Maid is perfect absolutely perfect for the infantry class. Gives him 4 movement, so he gets first strike. You can take down tanks. Like, you're going up against an Albedo with a hero Elwin instead of the SP Elwin, you'll slay her really easily because she has no way to counter that. Like, we'll look at Albedo again really quick. She has no real defensive cavalry soldiers. She does not have Royal Cavalry. Guardian Cavalry nobody uses because they're bad. Hellhound is not for her because she's not an attacker. Like, they're never going to be using these two. There's no point. She would just be a worthless tank. There is Guardian Infantry, but they don't have a class advantage, so you would not have to worry about that as much, and they're going to deal very little damage. Like, playing Infantry Elwin against Albedo would actually make her worthless. Now, 1 second. Heavy Infantry is great. That way he has attack. They get a defense boost when attacked instead of increasing attack when attacking. For Lancer soldiers, Elwin doesn't have any good offensive ones. Vanguard Lancer's bad, Dark Centurion's bad, Phalanx is defensive. So if you want to still play him as a Lancer, you can even do Unicorns. Like, that is fine, because you're going to be able to get through a lot of Landiuses. Like, they might go full Royal Cavalry on you, thinking that, because they don't want to be Lancer yet, they don't want to switch, they're encountering too many enemies or they don't have the resources. This can be good. Get through the Royal Cavalry and then just kill Landius with a frontal assault. You can still use Steelwing Warrior in the Lancer class and then Reign of Glory. Like, basically, the SP upgrade just makes all of his classes better. You won't get the first strike if you use Reign of Glory because you're not going to be using a unit that has the same type as this Lancer class, but hey, it's a trade-off. He has enough damage to just put a tank into the ground anyways. So that's going to cover for soldiers. You are in his SP class going to be using Unicorn like 90% of the time, and then Steelwing Warrior 10% of the time when there's a certain situation. Make sure you build these up and get the training ground high. For his equipment, in the SP class, Errant Knight is going to be the one you're going to use 99.9% of the time. There's only one other weapon in his cavalry class that you can use, which I'll get to in a second. But attack plus 10%. When dealing skill damage, 30% chance to decrease cooldown by 5. Has a built-in clock effect. With Reign of Glory, it changes it to 100% for the next attack, so very powerful. Keep using Sword Soul, keep using Frontal Assault, keep that proc going. Unlike Steel Guardian, you don't get that extra plus 5 defense, but his talent, which gives him plus 25% defense at max rank, already makes up for that. So you're never going to have to worry about having enough defense. Really strong weapon. It's just as strong as the Steel Guardian, except without the plus 5 defense. I do need to re-roll and get a higher percentage on here, but haven't had much luck with that. Now, the other weapon for him, you're not going to use Akka or Sonya's exclusive. They don't work well with him at all. Steel Guardian is just, like I just went over that, basically just worse than that. Dragon Slayer Graham is not for him because it doesn't give enough attack. It does give a bit of HP percentage, but you only get this boost to your attack, defense, and magic defense when fighting dragons, and there's only Renata who's a dragon class, so not worth it. Blue Star is going to be the other weapon that you can use. Before battle, with every 1 block moved, you get up to 15% attack, defense, and magic defense. Increasing survivability and attack, you would etch out just slightly higher than using your Errant Knight sword. Now, you don't get the proc from Illumination and Reign of Glory, but if you don't care about that, this will give you slightly more attack in the long run if you're moving at least those 3 blocks. Super easy for Elwin, not something you have to worry about. Demon Slayer is basically used for AoE people in order to just dispel those buffs, that way you can go in. Balance Blade is not for him. Yggdrasil Branch is not for him because it doesn't increase attack at all. Like, if it did increase attack and defense by like 10%, and then ignores up to 15% of the enemy's defense, whew, that would be amazing. Vargas loves this. When Vargas's 3C is released, this is really going to... You're actually going to see a bunch of Vargas's play because he's going to have up to 3 lives, I believe. We'll get to that in a later video. Bloodsword Harunting is not good because you don't need fixed damage afterwards, and it only gives you plus 5% attack. At max rank, not worth it. 99% of the time, you're going to stick with Errant Knight. If you want a little bit of extra damage, go Blue Star. For his armor, there are a few options. Bloodline Magic Armor is my personal favorite on him. Somebody comes up to him, gives him a 30% chance to possibly live through that attack, unless it's like a Brenda attacking you while you're full cavalry, or somebody like Sonya coming up and using Chaos Helix. But this is my favorite. Gives you the extra chance to survive, gives you HP and defense plus 5%. Really solid. You can also use Arcane Battle Garb at HP and magic defense plus 5%. When attacking, after battle, deals fixed damage once to the enemy, 1.5 times hero's magic defense at max rank of the weapon. I mean the armor. This is actually pretty good. Like, if anybody lives with just a couple hundred health, this can very easily kill them off and save you in the match. You then have Aeolus Battle Armor. HP and defense plus 5% when under ranged attack. Has a 30% chance to lower damage taken by 30%. This has saved me personally on Toguro and Lanford a few times, but I just prefer this on Elwin because most people are going to run up to him and kill him. You do also have the Giant's Resolve. Chance of being critically hit minus 20% and defense plus 10%. That's still good. This actually synergizes with your talent for increased defense for when you're attacking. That way you can survive, so really good. Carbon Fiber it gives you defense and magic defense plus 8% when your HP is above 50%. You're not going to use this. You're always going to be at above 50% when attacking. Mirror Armor deals a little bit of fixed damage when you're attacked. Not for him. This is for tanks. And that's going to do it for the armor. Really small selection. Personal favorite, Bloodline Magic Armor, but you can also use Arcane Battle Garb for a little extra damage. For the helms, when I get more scrolls, I am re-enchanting this Fury of Tyr for my Sonya. That way I can place it on Elwin. You want Fury of Tyr? That way you can set up with Reign of Glory, give your skills an extra 10% damage. Really powerful. Can push you over the edge to get that kill you need. Defense plus 10%, synergizes with talent. Very awesome. Anais' helmet is decent. I've had this one for a while. This is the only reason why I've kept it on him so long. But HP plus 10%, defense plus 5%, gives him survivability. You need a really good enchant on this though. Like, as soon as I get a good breeze enchant on this one, I am just gonna rip it off, put it on Elwin, and say bye-bye to Sonya. I used to use Sonya a lot last season. She was very good. Might make a video on her later. She was very good for killing jugglers. Other helmets you can wear. Carbon Fiber, nope, not for him. Same thing as Carbon Fiber Armor. Not good. This is not good. There is Chief's Helmet, plus 10% HP after taking action grants and adjacent using 20% extra defense and negates defense and magic defense reduction effects and effects that prevent them from being healed. This is very great. You can place this on. You can do this like if you're moving with your tank. Make sure that they don't get heal blocked, so you can help out there. Blood Horror, very limited uses because you need to move 4 squares for that first strike, or the bare minimum 3 with Reign of Glory. Like, you need to move to recover your HP, make sure you're at full. So, after taking action, at max rank has a 50% chance to reduce the defense of one enemy within 2 blocks by 20%. Lasts 1 turn. And plus 2% and plus 10% defense at max rank. It's actually really good. So this part synergizes with the talent, and this can make it easier to kill an enemy because reducing their defense is a lot better than just 10% skill damage. But it's actually harder to use it with him because you need to move a lot. Now there are positions that you can do to make the tank have to block, and then you can Reign of Glory, move 4 squares while attacking. That can do it too. You can position a certain way, so very situationally this is going to be good. but you want to stick with Fury of Tyr because there's no movement. There's no like range restriction on him. For his accessories, there's a few options. Slayer's Emblem is a really solid choice. Gives you HP and attack, gives you plus 8% attack at max rank, and if you're battling flyers, attack increases by an extra 12%. You don't see this when you're attacking. Like if you attack a Claret or something, you're not actually going to see the boost in battle, but it plays out with everything. Like I don't know if they just decided not to make that change because it would be confusing, but I do think Zilong should update it. It's very good. You're mostly not going to be attacking flying units because you're going to be using Elwin the tank bus, but great as well just for everything overall. Swordsmith Metal does make it so he doesn't take fixed damage and his skills can't be silenced, but it doesn't give him enough attack. Like there's no attack boost here. It will make him really weak. I don't recommend this. I recommend just keeping a very strong attack weapon on him. Attack accessory. You do have Judge Talisman. It's very similar, but it's attack and defense, so it does synergize with the defense there. It can give you a little extra boost. Attack plus 8% when battling holy units. Attack increases by an extra 12%. If you're going up against a Leaden, this is very good. You can Sword Soul, and then you'll get extra 12% attack on there to bust through whoever he has. I personally like Slayer's Emblem for the extra HP because I feel that this can be used better in a pinch, there's not too many holy units right now who are tanks at least, or that you have to worry about needing the extra attack to kill. Lone Star Amulet. If I can get a better enchant on one of these, I might actually switch it out for Slayer's Emblem, because when there are no friendly units within 2 blocks, synergizes with his Revive talent. Your attack and defense increase by 10% during combat. Absolutely amazing. It gives you just a flat out extra 10% defense, which Slayer's Emblem doesn't, and 2% more attack just when you're battling. You don't get any extra when battling flyers or holy units, but that won't matter because you have that constant 10%, that constant extra 2%. So probably gonna switch this out if I can ever get a better enchant on one of these. I don't need that crit chance. I want to get to at least 9% attack and a bunch of HP or defense. Like this right here is great, and I have a little bit of extra flat attack. Overlord badge. If you don't have any of these, this can work in a pinch. Immunity to defense, magic defense, attack and int reduction, and mobility reduction. That way you never have to worry about having enough movement. All stats 5%, gives you flat attack and flat HP. Pretty nice. This is only going to be used if you don't have either of these 3 up here. There is Winged Shin Guards. You get these for free, I believe, in the Sharia event. It's been a long time, but attack plus 8%, and when attacked, your defense increases by 10%. So it gives you a little bit of extra survivability. Gives you flat defense and attack like Judge Talisman, but doesn't give you HP. So it's kind of a trade-off. You can use this as well if you don't have any of these up here, but I recommend Slayers, Judge, or Lone Star Amulet. Insidious Pendant is not for him because it only increases crit. This is for assassins. Don't bother putting that on there. You can be funny with Spirit Boots if you want to attack and then move afterwards, like if you're slow pushing, that way you can go back into tank range. This can severely annoy people and give you a reason to just Sword Soul, back out, and then go in and Sword Soul again after Reign of Glory. Elven Ring at max rank gives you... where is it? I'm going to search on here real quick. At max rank, attack and defense 8% when attacking. So that's just a standard that's actually pretty decent. There's no unit restriction, like you need to be by yourself within 2 blocks, so you don't have to worry about that. Not a lot of people use it though because it's only when attacking and not when attacked, so that can leave you not being able to do a good counterattack. The last accessory that you can use with him is Twilight Star. Before attacking, deals fixed damage equal to 1 times of the unit's lower stat of either attack or int. If the enemy is mixed troops, the fixed damage can't be immunized against. So you're going up against somebody like Zerida, and she has... Oh, you're probably going to kill Zerida anyways, but she has Last Rites on there, and she's, you know, at full health right now. And she's mostly going to be using the Hellfire Soldiers, which are Demon, and she's going to be Assassin. Bam. Break that. Make sure you put her into the ground. She won't get off a good counterattack. You won't have to worry about a thing. You can break anybody else. This is great if jugglers are using Blood Pact instead of Swordsmith's Metal. That way you can break their Last Rites. So this has a very good use for that. Anybody else who has Last Rites, you can do this, like against Use Case, because they don't run Swordsmith's Metal. Anybody who does not run Swordsmith's Metal, this is going to be great against, because it will make sure they do not have Last Rite. They need to be at 100% for anything. It's going to break that as well. Very, very many uses for this as well, but it only gives plus 5% attack and int, and he doesn't use int at all. And for flat stats, 75 attack and 75 int. So there is a trade-off to this. You don't get any defensive stats with this. It's pure damage. But being able to break Last Rites so you can get through and kill somebody, or make it so that, like if Yulia took a bit of chip damage and didn't heal to full and you want to kill her before a battle, this could put her underneath her threshold. Then you can kill her and not have to worry about her reviving again. Bunch of different uses against heroes like that, so there is a trade-off there if you do want to use that. I personally just like to stick with sure things, and also I don't have Twilight Star. Can't get lucky for that. Slayer's Emblem. Very good all around. There's nothing wrong with this accessory. But Lone Star Amulet can be better. Alright. That's going to cover everything in the main. Now, quickly, for hero class, if you want, you can play Elwin in the hero class and use this same setup right here for Sword Soul or Frontal Assault, Eternal Light, and Reign of Glory. With hero class, again, Mass Mage, best choice. You can slay any Lancers. Like you're going up against a Ledin in Albedo. They're going to be using Lancer Soldiers. They might try to counter you with other units, like they might have Guardian Infantry. Ledin is going to have Redeemers. A lot of people are using Redeemers. Now, I don't know. Ledins might be using Blood Pacts as well, so you cannot put the heal debuff on them, because Redeemers only work if there's no debuff on them. Sword Souling, boom. Redeemers will be out of the picture. You won't have to worry about a thing. They do not have any cavalry units to tank with, so they can't even put like a Dragoon in front of you. They're not going to be, like if they go the Crystal Mold or Meme route, you're just going to slay right through them. Phalanx might stop you for a bit just because it reduces your physical damage, but dispelling all their buffs, if Ledin does not get his Righteous Duel off, or if he just takes Divine Guard, you're going to be able to, you're not going to have to worry about the attack and defense. I mean, the defense increase he gets, which gives him more attack. You won't have to worry about that damage. Like, he's very pitiful if he doesn't get one of those two off to increase his defense, which then increases his attack. Now, in general, units that help him, gonna be Deedlit, gonna be Estelle, give him movement buffs, damage increase, and Estelle gives skill increase. Luna will give him extra movement in any of his classes because he will either have Cavalry movement, or Terrain Master, or Infantry movement. Giving him 2 extra free blocks to move, absolutely amazing. Imelda with Queen's Whip is going to give him 2 extra movement and plus 10% to all offensive stats as well, absolutely amazing. Tiaris, bread and butter, I love her. Attack, Blessing, and Miracle, we all know and love her. Iris, Legardin de Iris, teleport, make him ignore terrain if you're in one of the other classes or are using a class that isn't, or using a soldier that isn't Unicorn, for that way Terrain Master isn't there. Boom. Absolutely amazing, gonna give you that power. Weiler and Akka, great as well. Gives him survivability. That way he can go in. He could eat with Weiler. You can go into the thick of things, attack somebody, be alone. They might kill you if they can't dispel that desperate prayer buff, which gives you your health back before battle. They're gonna have a hard time putting Elwin down, and then you'll be able to cast Active Retreat, get him out of there. Akka gives him +2 mobility and plus 30% attack in order to give him more power. That way, in that case, you wouldn't need to bring Eternal Light most times. She's very great for countering rushes as well, giving your units more mobility to outpace them. Liana and Florentia, you can use these two to set up, and then you can act again him in order to move and kill somebody. But for the most part, you're just going to want that damage increase in order to get him in there and get him out. People you do want to ban when you're playing SP Elwin. You do not normally want to fight against Landius. It's a coin flip over what class he's going to be. He's going to be able to tank a lot of the damage that you deal, because he can just throw out Heavy Centurion, Trick Guards. If you're in Cavalry, it's going to be really hard to break through there. You're going to have to deal so much reduced damage, don't want to deal with it. Ban him out. You want to play against that juggler. You want to make him guess what soldier you're going to bring. If he brings out those Stone Colossus, you can bring somebody else, like Toguro. You can bring Rosalia with Griffin Knight or Holy Pegasus in order to break through there while she's in her Holy class, and then Stone Colossus will have almost nothing on her. Make sure to combo him with another unit who has a lot of mobility in order to follow up and kill everybody. Lenins are going to be, a lot of them are going to be using Redeemers. He is actually somebody that you want to fight against, because if you can debuff him with either Frontal Assault or Sword Soul, preferably Sword Soul, or even Roar at that point, you're going to be able to kill him and he's not going to revive. Like going up against Lenin, even if he decides to bring Phalanx, you can just take and bring Steelwing Warrior. You can get through there. Debuff with Sword Soul. He's going to have almost no attack and you're going to be able to bust through him. Albedo is one that you need to worry about, because with her 3C, Hermes Trismegistus, immune to stuns, she has a revive skill. Don't want to deal with that. You can bring Frontal Assault, which is actually great, but she's going to bring Phalanx or Crystal Molders. She has a lot of damage reduction. At max rank, when she's attacked, she reduces damage taken by 15% when a friendly unit is within 2 blocks of her. She's a tank. That's 99.9% of the time going to happen. Now, Hermes reduces chance to be critically hit by 30%, so you're almost never going to critically hit her. And when forced into battle, has a 30% chance to reduce all damage taken by 50%. If she has Phalanx and she triggers that, your unicorns are probably going to deal a little bit of damage. They might kill off like half of the Phalanx, but then you yourself as Elwin, you're going to deal nothing at all. Literally, you're going to be like, oh, Elwin deals 40 damage. The least you can do. You don't want to play against her as SP Elwin. If you're playing Hero Elwin, it's actually really good, because she doesn't have any, again, defensive cavalry units. You do not want to play against Vargas, which is going to become popular soon, Arienrod, or Brenda. They are going to counter SP Elwin really, really hard. Get those out of the way. You don't want to play against Zerida, because she can just one-shot you and then pick you off with Hellfire Soldiers. Get rid of that. Hiei reverses healing. Ban him. Sakura. Almost no one plays Sakura, but because you're moving 4 squares, yours will take priority and you're going to attack her first, so this is a toss-up. I don't like playing against her at all, just because her AoEs can stop healing and can reverse healing. You get her out of the way, don't deal with that, because if she gets that off first, you're just going to be in a whole lot of trouble. Sage of the Trees is the biggest annoyance I've ever faced. When moving my cavalry units, people will first pick him instead of a tank against me sometimes. I'm going to be uploading some more arena videos later, but ban him. You don't want Wave Whisper or Array of Light blocking you. Like, putting that out there, pushing you back, making it so that you have to spend extra movement to get to them is... And he also makes everybody take... There's a 30% less chance of being critically hit. You don't want to deal with that. Not at all. Alright. That's basically going to do it. Those are a few soldiers. A lot of things are going to be preference, but basically you want to fight against Leaden or Juggler most of the time. You want to be... That way you can just one-shot them easy. You want to use Unicorns. You want to put everybody into the ground. And that's going to make your SP Elwin successful and get you that sweet, sweet rank points. Alright, hope you all enjoyed the video. Gonna be uploading some more later. If you can give it a like and subscribe, I would appreciate it. And RigheousFreed out.